I think that women in this generation need to be a little more selfish rather than selfless, because the past generation was too selfless to the point where they were burnt out, they were resentful, and they had no idea how to take care of themselves. And they passed that down to us. This is where intentional, holistic approach comes into play.
Hello, welcome to Monetizing Mompreneurs Podcast, where I take you behind the scenes with industry leaders, entrepreneurs, moms, working professionals, and amazing people pursuing their passions and going for their dreams. And I'm your host, Linda Mendable. This episode was brought to you by Monetizing Mompreneurs Summit. So in this episode, you're going to hear from Michelle. And basically, she will share how you can be a successful CEO, a connected wife, and a present mom while taking care of yourself. I know that you're going to absolutely love this episode, and she drops so many gems that I had to share it with you. So subscribe and make sure you come back next week.
Michelle is happily married mama to 3. She's a marriage coach for mamas and the host of the Marriage Motherhood Podcast. Michelle is passionate about helping mamas enjoy their marriage and how much we need that through every stage of motherhood. She helps her clients learn how to handle conflict in a healthy way so they can work through their issues as a team and bust through the resentment that's been building up over the years. She also helps her clients who feel like they're fallen into a co-parenting roommate dynamic connect with their spouse, not just as mom and dad, but as lovers and friends too, so that their relationship feels fun and fresh as if they're still dating. And Michelle, this is such an important topic, especially for those of us who have been married and in the trenches, working so hard to build that business. And, there's like times where I feel like, have I even connected with my husband today? And so I am really excited. Welcome, Michelle. And you got this, friend.
Thank you so much for that amazing welcome. Hi, everybody. It's so good to be here with you all. Now, I love to utilize a chat. So if you're joining us live right now, please let me know where you're from, how old your kids are, how long you've been married. And feel free to engage with me during this presentation. I love to make sure that you are getting what you need out of this. And I'm going to go ahead and begin. Successful CEO, connected wife, present mom. What if you could be it all, right? Who here would love to be able to feel this way in all of these roles, right? I know I certainly do. And when one of those roles feels like I'm kind of failing in it, it feels like my world is coming undone, right? These are all such big roles that we play in our life as mompreneurs. And I want to make sure that through this presentation, through this training, you're going to come out of this more equipped, knowing how you can be able to feel all of these things and be able to live your life exactly how you want it to, not feeling like you have to choose between one or two of these roles and let something else fall by the wayside. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Purta. I am a married mom of 3. I started out in corporate as an HR professional for many years, got burned out from doing way too many layoffs. I hated that, and became a project manager. Well, after that, I eventually ended up quitting corporate to eventually become a life and marriage coach for moms and parents. And I'm also the host of the Marriage Motherhood Podcast. At the time, I felt very burned out by the lifestyle that I had while working full-time, doing something that wasn't really adding any sense of fulfillment to my life. I only saw my kids when it was time to get them out of the door, dinner time, and getting them to bed. And I did not like the direction that my life was headed in. Now, before I dive more into that, I wanted to share my background. I myself am a child of divorce. I'm also a child of a blended family, and my family is a blended family. So that's kind of fun. You can look at all that stuff. But these are the tools that I love to use in my coaching. And it's been so fun being able to pull all these different ways to support my clients. Now, even though Eventually, once I had quit my job, once I had found the direction I wanted to go in, and I found, okay, this is my career. I am very passionate about helping couples be able to thrive in their relationship as they're navigating the challenges of motherhood and parenthood. But in the beginning, I didn't know what I know now. I was feeling burned out like I used to, feeling like I had to choose between my family or my business. I was yelling at my kids a lot more. I was arguing with my husband a lot more. And in general, I was feeling really unhappy in all areas of my life, right? I felt like the more I work, the faster I'll be successful. If someone messages me, I have to reply right away. Otherwise, I'm going to miss out on the opportunity to sign another client, to help another couple. Anytime I had an idea, I had to jot it down right then and there and act on it. Otherwise, it will go away because I didn't know when the next idea was going to come to me. I thought, well, this is a very limited thing. I don't know how to create this for myself. And so when it comes, I have to pause what I'm doing, no matter what I was doing, whether I was hanging out with my kids, hanging out with my husband. I needed to act on it. And that was it. Otherwise, it was just going to ruin the trajectory of my business. And I wasn't okay with it. But as I continue to do more and more of this, I realized this is not a good direction for my life. I quit my job to not experience this, and yet I've then recreated in a different way the same experience where I'm easily irritated. I'm cranky. Anytime my kids want to talk to me when I'm home, I am bothered by it. I felt interrupted. And so I stopped to reflect on how life would be if I had hit the fast forward button. Would I be okay with this life? And I wasn't. I have been in a place where I'm building my business and I wasn't happy with the life that I had created for myself. And so that's why this presentation here is something I'm so passionate about. I want you to be able to experience joy and success in your business while also feeling really connected to your husband, feeling really connected and present as a mom, and feeling even connected to yourself, right? Like that's the relationship that is the most important, is the one with yourself. And so I wanted to give you a scary statistic, right? We're all aware of the statistic for divorce. But are you aware that married entrepreneurs actually have a higher rate of divorce? If you think about it, it kind of makes sense, right? So the reason marriages just outside of entrepreneurship in general aren't working out is because people aren't being equipped with the skills essential for a healthy and successful marriage. When you think about how we are taught in school, what do they prioritize? They prioritize academics. They don't prioritize things that help you with life skills, right? You don't hear about finance classes unless you seek them out. You're not being taught how to communicate effectively. You're not taught about your emotions, taking personal responsibility, helping raise your self-awareness. None of that. That's all stuff that you do on your own time if you're interested, if you're aware of it. Now, those with healthy marriages, they're either kids of parents who have had healthy relationships and they've passed down those skills. They've witnessed and been modeled. Okay, this is how you deal with conflict. This is how partnership looks like when you're a parent, so on and so forth. But most of us, I dare say, we did not grow up that way. We're being passed down these generational cycles of this is how you handle conflict, whether you get passive aggressive, whether you ignore conflict, whether you are aggressive, whatever it is. And we just keep making little tweaks to it, little by little, getting better, but not quite escaping this cycle, right? And when we are not parents and when we're not entrepreneurs, we can kind of get by without having these skills because we have the capacity to handle the challenges. But once you add kids in, your capacity greatly shrinks. We all have this experience. We have less time, we have less energy, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, all of it is just split. And then you add in your own business, and then you've got even more stress. So this statistic makes sense. And I want to make sure that today I can help you not be a part of that statistic. So in this training, we're going to cover the most important question you need to be asking yourself, what you must start doing to rock business, marriage, and motherhood, and how to involve your partner so they can be more supportive. Okay, because I've heard a lot like my husband just doesn't get it. It doesn't seem like they're supportive. And I want to make sure I tackled that today. And from today, you're going to hopefully be able to reduce your burnout, experience more fulfillment in life, business, marriage, and motherhood, strengthen your partnership, and more importantly, have more fun, right? Life should be about having fun and enjoying it. Because what is life if you don't enjoy it, right? This is a fun thing. I don't know if anyone said it, but I've definitely thought it to myself, right? I started my business so that my partner and kids can resent me. Said no one, right? Like we don't go into business thinking this is our end goal, right? This is exactly what we don't want to happen, right? So the number one thing is, have you ever asked yourself why you started your business? Like I actually want you to take a second here, maybe even more than a second. Why did you start your business? Do you actually know? And if you're live with me, feel free to chime in the chat and let us know. Why did you start your business? Because it really ultimately starts here, is knowing your why. Now, here are some common answers: time freedom, financial freedom, location freedom, right? If you resonate with any of this, let us know. I want all three. I want to be able to pick up, drop off my kids, volunteer for field trips, go on vacation whenever I want without checking to see how much PTO I have left or if I have to go negative, right? And take it unpaid or whatever. I want financial freedom. I don't want someone else dictating what my paycheck looks like. I want to be able to be like, oh, the economy is down. I don't care. I'm still going to have a massive raise this year, right? Yes, these are great reasons why, but this is still surface level. Why do you want these things? What will it allow you to do, to have, to be? This vision that you have, that you see in your mind, that you see little glimmers of, or maybe you see people further ahead than you have that you're like, I want that. When you know your vision, this is how you can anchor into it, create that internal motivation, help you work through the struggles that you experience in your life in all those roles that you play as a business owner, as a mom, as a wife, as a woman. Okay. Yes, this is a very basic question, but it is so, so important for you to get clear on, because without direction, you have no idea where you're going. You're just going to keep copying what other people are saying is the best way without having it be aligned towards where you ultimately want to take your business and what it's going to allow you to do in life. We want to work so that it supports our life, and having that clear vision of where you want your life to become, that's going to be your driving force. How you want your marriage to be, how you want your relationship with your kids to be like, what friendships you have, what you want to be able to do in your free time, your general lifestyle. Like if you want to wake up to slow mornings, go take a yoga class and then come back and start work and then do all of these things and be able to cook dinner for your family if that's your thing, or order takeout or hire a private chef. Like, what does that look like? Hanging out with your husband, what does that look like? Hanging out with your kids, what does that look like? Everyone's vision is going to be unique to them, but it's important to know, what is that? And knowing your why is going to help you be able to make aligned decisions that help all areas of your life, which will simplify your life because you already know, okay, well, this is what I'm working towards. Oh, I'm faced with a decision and a challenge. Okay, what will help me get closer to that? It will help with decision fatigue and anxiety. And then you get to celebrate your life here and now. Right? So much of the beginning of my journey in entrepreneurship, I kept thinking, well, once I hit this, then I will be able to do this. Once I get to this milestone, I will be able to like relax more and enjoy where I'm at. But it's kind of like hiking, right? If you're hiking to the peak and this trail happens to have multiple peaks, you're just like constantly walking. Oh, okay, we're at peak 1. Okay, let's keep going to peak 2. But you're not actually stopping to look back and realize what you've already achieved, right? You're not stopping to celebrate what you already have now. Do you already have glimmers of time freedom, location freedom, right? Financial freedom? What can you celebrate today that you already have now and embrace in that you've already met that part of your goal and that there are other parts of the goal that you can keep striving for. So you can, while going for the next peak, enjoy how far you've come. Looking back like, wow, I've already gone through 3 peaks, right? I've already gotten to the point where a lot of my life already looks how I want it to. I might still have parts that I'm working towards getting, but I don't have to reach 100% to celebrate the 80% I already created for myself. So embrace the season you're in while also letting your why, your vision, motivate you to continue going for your desires, right? Let yourself enjoy the journey. This is my favorite, but often forgotten. Number 2 is you are your business's greatest asset. How often do you stop to remind yourself of that? Right? How often do you remember that you are the real MVP in your life, in your business? Are you treating yourself like that? I know for me in the beginning, I was not. I was like treating myself like a workhorse. I felt like I had to earn my rest. I feel like I had to earn being able to just enjoy life because I wasn't where I wanted to be. And that is exactly opposite of how you're supposed to be approaching this. If you do it that way, you're going to get burned out. And your burnout will hurt your business because you will be less motivated, less inspired, less magnetic, right? Your energy is what attracts people to work with you. That's why relationships matter so much in the realm of entrepreneurship. But not only that, but your burnout hurts your family. Maybe you'll be yelling at the kids more. You'll be short with them. You won't be as playful. Maybe you're going to get into more arguments with your partner because you're more on edge and you notice all the things that they're not doing, or you're more sensitive to the words that they're saying to you. And you're connecting less, which typically leads to more arguments. Connection is the foundation of your relationship. And when that's not there, things get rocky. Misunderstandings happen more often. We give them less benefit of the doubt, and things go downhill from there, right? So remembering that you are the MVP and start taking care of yourself as such. Because when you take care of yourself, you're going to feel like you have a greater capacity to give to your business, to your family, so that you can feel like a successful CEO, like a connected wife, like a present mom. Okay? It all starts with you. And when you don't take care of yourself, all of that gets affected negatively. So what does taking care of yourself look like? You need to take a holistic approach. I responded to this like Facebook post in a mom group. It was like, hey, who has some like self-care tips for moms? And I had a very long response. I said, people, what they've shared, all great ideas. Get a massage, make sure you, get your hair done, take naps, whatever, right? But my answer was very different. And this is what I mean by holistic approach, okay? My answer looked like setting boundaries. My answer looked like making sure that you are removing toxic people from your life, as well as making sure you're making decisions that's helping you get to the life that you are trying to create. Now, I won't read the entire list because it was pretty lengthy. I was feeling very fiery that morning. But taking care of yourself looks like advocating for yourself, taking a look at your whole entire life, all the different roles that you play, and making sure that they're working well together. You're not compromising your integrity, your health, your well-being for other people, right? It's kind of like the airplane approach where you put your mask on first, then you help other people. Same thing, okay? I think that women in this generation need to be a little more selfish rather than selfless, because the past generation was too selfless to the point where they were burnt out, they were resentful, and they had no idea how to take care of themselves. And they passed that down to us. And so now we're caught in between generations where the old were selfless, the new are quote unquote selfish, where they're very good at taking care of themselves, very good at advocating for themselves, not feeling like they need to earn rest, but that rest is just a given, and that their energy is the most important thing that they need to do, like take care of. So we're like, okay, well, I don't know how to do that, but I don't want to do the old way. So this is where intentional, holistic approach comes into play. Making sure that you're prioritizing what's truly important in your life. So for me, what's important is my marriage, my kids, right? Myself. Am I framing my life so that it's aligned with those priorities? Like, it's really easy to be like, yeah, those are important. But when you pause and take a look at what are the things that I'm doing on a daily basis, what decisions am I making? Oftentimes, I will say majority of my clients, when they first start seeing me, their actions are not aligned with their goals or their priorities. They're doing a lot of things that they should be doing out of obligation, out of people pleasing. And we need to cut that and instead take a look at, okay, well, if my marriage is important to me, what would I need to do to prioritize that? What does that look like? Oh, hanging out together more often, making space for that, checking in with each other, making sure we're communicating, making sure that we are growing together, but also growing as individuals, because that's what creates conversation, right? If we spend all our time together, there's nothing to talk about. So still being our own person. Okay, what does being a connected or a present mom look like? Oh, hang out with my kids. Okay, well, what does that look like in my schedule? Am I setting it as a given, or am I just trying to fit it into the little spaces of my day, depending on if I have enough energy, if I have enough time, right? You see, that way of doing is very unaligned, misaligned, right? You say your goal is, I want to feel these things, I want to be these things for my people, but you're like giving them the scraps of you. So can you flip it on its head and say, this is how we do life? Doesn't matter if it looks like your neighbors, doesn't matter if it looks like your best friends. Give yourself permission to do life differently, to help you get to the goals that you have for your life, to help you fulfill that vision that you and your husband create for your family. And give yourself permission to enjoy what you have. In other words, be her now. If you know Jillian Murphy, she's an amazing sales person. This is her phrase. What this means is, if you were to close your eyes, or if you were to journal about who that version of you is that has all those things that you desire, a successful business, a connected marriage, you as a present mom, you happy, what does she do on a normal basis? When she wakes up, what does she do? How does she go about her day? What decisions does she make? Who does she surround herself with? How does she get to where she is now? Reverse engineer where you want to end up so that you can start shifting, even if it's baby decisions, right? Baby changes, so that you can make your way towards becoming her. Don't wait till, okay, once I hit $1 million in my business, then I will be her. No. Be her now. That is the fastest way that you're going to get to where you want to go. That's why the vision is so important, because you have to be able to have that clarity on who she is. Who is she? And what can you do today to start being her now? When you start to take care of yourself, you're going to feel happier. You're going to be more loving, patient, compassionate. You're going to have better relationships, and you're going to be more creative, motivated, energetic. Like, what business owner doesn't want to have all these things, right? This is the life. This, to me, is success. And it all starts with you. Now, the third one is inviting your partner along in the journey. A lot of times we're like, oh, they just don't get it, right? Well, I want to remind you that your business is just a part of your life, but it's not your whole entire life. Your business supports your life. That is the vehicle for how you can have that life that you desire. And your relationship with your partner is actually the most important relationship that you have. This week, I actually released a podcast episode on your husband or your kids, which should come first. And I know a lot of moms are like, oh, duh, my kids. And if you're in a healthy relationship, it should actually be your husband, because your marriage is the foundation of your family. You and your kids, you guys will always be family. You and your husband, that is not always guaranteed, and it always needs to be nurtured. If you want to have that vision where you're old and gray and you're still flirting with each other and, walking around dancing, traveling, whatever your vision is for your life together, it doesn't just happen, right? Being married for 25 years doesn't mean that it's a good marriage, right? Like, I actually hate, it's a pet peeve of mine when they brag about how long they've been married, because that says nothing about the health of your marriage. Like, it could just say how much BS you're willing to deal with, right? But if you want that successful, healthy marriage that weathers the test of parenthood, weathers the test of time and life and challenges, you have to nurture it. And if you don't, it can feel incredibly lonely, painful. And right now, if it feels like your partner doesn't get it, it doesn't mean that it's going to be forever, okay? If they don't get it and it seems like they're unsupportive, what really is going on is that they're afraid. I know it's really easy to be like, gosh, you're such an a-hole. Like, why can't you be supportive like this person's husband, right? Or why don't you believe in me? And it can feel so defeating, right? When your person isn't in your corner, it feels awful. But really, it's fear. And here are the things that they might be fearing. Financial risk, right? Especially if you're like me and you came from a corporate background where you had a steady paycheck, you had benefits, you knew exactly what was coming in every single month and when, right? And they're like, what? You're talking about investing this much in a coach? What? That's a lot of money. That can go towards this, that can go towards that. They might feel that pressure to feel like they have to make up for the lost income. They might not understand what this end goal looks like. They have no idea if you're going to succeed or not. And so as a husband, they're like, well, my job is to provide. And all of a sudden, half or whatever the percentage of our income is now unstable, unpredictable. They might also fear being left behind. I always say entrepreneurship is like that personal development journey we didn't know we were signing up for. And you're talking to all these like new people and starting to read new books, new concepts, and you're changing what you're doing. And they're like, what is going on? Who are you? Who are you? Like, what are you doing right now? And they might feel like you're going to think that you've outgrown them, which leads to the next fear, which is like, hey, are we growing apart? We're now doing different things. Do we have a future together? Attracted to me? Or they fear you failing and them having to pick up the pieces because they feel protective of you. These are all different fears that might come up, and they might have one, some, or all of them, and they might not know how to articulate it. And so our coping mechanisms can look like not being supportive. So if this is you, have those tough conversations so that they can air it out and you can address them. Let them in on your vision for your business, your why, and address these fears. Because when you talk about it, they can then become more aware of how they're feeling, and you can then share, this is my plan, right? Almost like treating your husband like an investor, whether it's monetary or for the kids while you're working, or giving up some time that they could be connecting with you so you can work a late night, right? Either way, they are investing in your business, even if it doesn't sound like they're supportive. So have these conversations and address what's going on so that you can figure out what you can change or what you can provide more context to alleviate the fears that they're experiencing and get back on the same page. And that's what inviting them along looks like, right? It's going to help them or help you to understand each other better, make decisions that will help your relationship in the long run, strengthen your partnership, improve communication, and you're going to be able to connect more because you're not going to have that like tension where you're assuming like, oh, you're not supportive. Meanwhile, he's just really afraid, and you're both kind of avoiding each other because of that, right? Here's the summary. Know your why, treat yourself as the MVP, be her now, and invite your partner along. And when you do these three things, you're going to become that successful CEO, connected wife, and present mom because you get to be it all. And that's it for the presentation. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle, because I mean, we all are juggling so much, right? There's so much responsibility with having littles and then running our businesses and wearing all the hats within our businesses sometimes, right? Like we're the social media manager, we're the PR representative, we're the content strategist, we're all of those things. And then on top of all of the hats we wear within the home. Like this is the only, like my bedroom is over there and it's a mess, but this is the only clean area within my house. No, I'm just kidding. There's other areas. I won't show you just now, but they are. But what I like about this is just like a great reminder because I've been through burnout, I've gone through that. And, that's not easy to go through. And, I think it's like we have to be cognizant of like, where are we? And like really check in with ourselves and check in with our loved ones because they can see it a lot like quicker than we can. Cassie, what are your takeaways from Michelle's talk?
But one, you're talking about a pretty hard topic. Like this is pretty, this can really hit home. I think you really delivered the message as far as like just really tapping into some of that pain if your husband's not on board. And I've been in both of those worlds where he couldn't see the vision and he wasn't, I came out of corporate. I had that insurance and all that stuff. So, and then making that switch up and everything. So I think you really did really well bringing in that compassion component of, wow, this can be really painful and it is fear. So being able to get on the back end of that and understanding what's at the heart of it was, and being able to bring them in instead of getting defensive, which is so easy to do, right? You don't believe in me but and it takes time. It takes time and it takes them seeing that you're consistent and all those things. So I think that you really brought to the table and laid out for us a hard topic, but one that is so needed, and you really gave us some golden nuggets. So I hope everybody else that was able to get this on replay and that's in here today feels heard in this place, because it can be lonely, and you're right, our marriage is the foundation of that. Like that is something that needs to be nurtured. So just thank you so much for sharing all of that and bringing that conversation to the summit.
I think like I love the transparency too, like of what you've been through and what you experienced and everything like that, because if we're all truthful with ourselves, we've all experienced hardships, failures, bloopers, embarrassing moments that we do not like to share, especially on social media, right? And just a simple fact, hey, I know that you're here maybe in this hard moment. I've been here too. I think that's so impactful, and it opens up like the channels of communication that, hey, you know what? it's okay, I'm normal, but I can take the steps to prevent burnout, to prevent like my relationships just falling apart and actually have them being successful, right? With especially with the nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah, I have this tendency to like feel like a victim a lot. I get to be the designer of my life. And if I don't like what it looks like hitting the fast forward button, I need to pause and think about it. And oftentimes we think about, oh, well, I don't have time to stop and reflect. But not taking that time is what's going to lead to it taking longer, or maybe even just eliminating the option of having the life that we want. But when we slow down, we can get more strategic and intentional about what are we doing? How are we doing? Why are we doing this? So we can pivot, right? I think life is a lot about being nimble and agile. When we notice something isn't going right, making those tweaks. Same for business. Being able to notice, okay, didn't like that. That doesn't feel good. What's going on here? What's my next move?
Yeah, a lot of self-awareness. And I'm going to go into the chat. We have Ladone who says, awesome presentation. Totally speaking to me. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you, I'm Ladone or Ladone. I hope I'm not butchering your name. So please forgive me on that one. But just thank you so much for being here. And if you were to give one piece of like nugget of wisdom, like I know you dropped so many gems, but if there was like one takeaway that you wanted to leave us with, what would that be?
One take, I think the be her now is like the ultimate of tips. Be her now.
Yes.
Because that pretty much solves everything. Like if you want to be a connected wife, you can't just be like, okay, well, when I have the time, when I have the energy, I'll hang out with you. Or, like, oh, that's a really hard conversation. Don't want to do that because I'm going to rock the boat. Well, that's going to create more issues later, right? That's going to create resentment and tension because you're not dealing with it. Or if you're not hanging out with your kids, they're not going to listen to you anymore because connection really is the foundation of any relationship. So if you can imagine and take that time, okay, who do I want to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, however far out you want to go? How do I see my life? Even if it looks like a fairy tale, you're like, I can't have that. That's for other people, right? Let yourself dream that because it's easier to think about far out because it feels like, oh, it's like playing, right? It's fine. But when you do that and you start to reverse engineer how to get there, it starts to become more and more possible. So let yourself be her now and make those changes today.
Amen.
For me, transparently, I have not been good about taking care of my physical health. And I did this exact exercise last week. You know what? This is not good for anyone. It's going to shorten my lifespan. I'm going to be very sluggish. I don't like buying clothes. I need to change this now. This is not magnetic. This is not how we succeed in life, in any area of life. And it's going to leak into all the things that matter to me. So I'm the type of person who exercises 3 times a week now.
Wow.
I just decided when you make that decision that you're going to be her now, it changes everything. Your excuses become like just background noise that you can just ignore. Kind of like that annoying fly that you swat away. No, I am being her now. Go away.
I love that. I love that. And what you really said right now was that regardless of the season, regardless of our level of success, regardless of what chapter and page we're on today, this formula, this mindset, this thinking helps us level up to that next place that we're called to go to.
I know I practice it a lot because, like, especially with my schedule, like, why am I waiting to live my dream schedule for later when I get certain things, when I can just live my dream schedule now and see how I can build upon that? Like, what do I need to tweak to make it happen for me to live out that dream schedule of mine? So I love it.
And Michelle, you are giving away for the VIP. I know we mentioned this in the beginning for those that were coming on, but for those that weren't here, and also just for replay and to get everyone connected, the All Access Pass, you are giving away a one-on-one marriage strategy call. There is information. I have linked to that a website where you can go and get the details on this. But Michelle, do you have anything you want to add to? I know you've got a description, but I would love for you to just speak on that for a little bit. So we can highlight that.
Yeah. So if you're someone where like you feel stuck with your marriage, you're like, I don't know what to do next. I know that we're not okay. I know that I don't like the direction we're going in. And I just need someone to tell me because I've tried all of the things. I have no idea what to do next. This is a call that's perfect for you because we can work together, figure out, okay, what are the challenges you're going through? What is it that you want instead? And then map out a process for you to be able to get that for yourself. So it's kind of like a blueprint.
Nice. I love it. And thank you for doing what you do and for caring about all of us mamas and our marriages and our families. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have a chance, stop by the website at lindamendable.com. Sign up for the Blog Cure, which is an awesome course that I created that will help you set up your blog or take your blog to the next level. And join us over at Monetizing Mompreneurs Facebook group. I just want to say again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.